Debray mechanically stopped and looked at the Baroness, whose face became covered with blushes. "Read," she said. Debray continued. "When you receive this, you will no longer have a husband. Oh, you need not be alarmed, you will only have lost him as you have lost your daughter. I mean that I shall be traveling on one of the 30 or 40 roads leading out of France. I owe you some explanations for my conduct, and as you are a woman that can perfectly understand me, I will give them. Listen, then. I received this morning 5 millions which I paid away. Almost directly afterwards another demand for the same sum was presented to me. I put this creditor off till tomorrow and I intend leaving today, to escape that tomorrow, which would be rather too unpleasant for me to endure. You understand this, do you not, my most precious wife? I say you understand this, because you are as conversant with my affairs as I am. Indeed, I think you understand them better, since I am ignorant of what has become of a considerable portion of my fortune, once very tolerable, while I am sure, madam, that you know perfectly well. For women have infallible instincts, they can even explain the marvelous by an algebraic calculation they have invented, but I, who only understand my own figures, know nothing more than that one day these figures deceived me. Have you admired the rapidity of my fall? Have you been slightly dazzled at the sudden fusion of my ingots? I confess I have seen nothing but the fire. Let us hope you have found some gold among the ashes. With this consoling idea, I leave you, madam, and most prudent wife, without any conscientious reproach for abandoning you. You have friends left, and the ashes I have already mentioned, and above all the liberty I hasten to restore to you. And here, madam, I must add another word of explanation. So long as I hoped you were working for the good of our house and for the fortune of our daughter, I philosophically closed my eyes, but as you have transformed that house into a vast ruin, I will not be the foundation of another man's fortune. You were rich when I married you, but little respected. Excuse me for speaking so very candidly, but as this is intended only for ourselves, I do not see why I should weigh my words. I have augmented our fortune, and it has continued to increase during the last 15 years, till extraordinary and unexpected catastrophes have suddenly overturned it, without any fault of mine, I can honestly declare. You, madam, have only sought to increase your own, and I am convinced that you have succeeded. I leave you, therefore, as I took you, rich, but little respected. Adieu. I also intend from this time to work on my own account. Accept my acknowledgments for the example you have set me, and which I intend following. Your very devoted husband, Baron Danglars. The Baroness had watched Debray while he read this long and painful letter, and saw him, notwithstanding his self-control, change color once or twice. When he had ended the perusal, he folded the letter and resumed his pensive attitude. Well? Asked Madame Danglars, with an anxiety easy to be understood. Well, madame? Unhesitatingly repeated Debray. With what ideas does that letter inspire you? Oh, it is simple enough, madame. It inspires me with the idea that M. Danglars has left suspiciously. Certainly, but is this all you have to say to me? I do not understand you, said Debray with freezing coldness. He is gone. Gone, never to return. Oh, madam, do not think that. I tell you he will never return. I know his character, he is inflexible in any resolutions formed for his own interests. If he could have made any use of me, he would have taken me with him. He leaves me in Paris, as our separation will conduce to his benefit, therefore he is gone, and I am free forever, added Madame Danglars, in the same supplicating tone. Debray, instead of answering, allowed her to remain in an attitude of nervous inquiry. Well? She said at length, do you not answer me? I have but one question to ask you, what do you intend to do? I was going to ask you, replied the Baroness with a beating heart. Ah, then, you wish to ask advice of me? Yes, I do wish to ask your advice, said Madame Danglars with anxious expectation. Then if you wish to take my advice, said the young man coldly, I would recommend you to travel. To travel? She murmured. Certainly, as M. Danglars says, you are rich, and perfectly free. In my opinion, a withdrawal from Paris is absolutely necessary after the double catastrophe of Mademoiselle Danglars' broken contract and M. Danglars' disappearance. The world will think you abandoned and poor, for the wife of a bankrupt would never be forgiven, were she to keep up an appearance of opulence. You have only to remain in Paris for about a fortnight, telling the world you are abandoned, and relating the details of this desertion to your best friends, who will soon spread the report. Then you can quit your house, leaving your jewels and giving up your jointure, and everyone's mouth will be filled with praises of your disinterestedness. They will know you are deserted, and think you also poor, for I alone know your real financial position, and am quite ready to give up my accounts as an honest partner. The dread with which the pale and motionless Baroness listened to this, was equalled by the calm indifference with which Debray had spoken. Deserted? She repeated, "Ah, yes, I am, indeed, deserted." You are right, sir, and no one can doubt my position. These were the only words that this proud and violently enamored woman could utter in response to Debray. But then you are rich, very rich, indeed, continued Debray, taking out some papers from his pocketbook, which he spread upon the table. Madame Danglars did not see them. She was engaged in stilling the beatings of her heart, and restraining the tears which were ready to gush forth. At length a sense of dignity prevailed, and if she did not entirely master her agitation, she at least succeeded in preventing the fall of a single tear.